Hello everyone, I hope you're all doing okay in these difficult times. I hope you're all keeping safe and as healthy as possible. And I also hope that this week's episode is going to bring some respite and a little bit of enjoyment to your life through what is a difficult period for everyone. Jimmy Reid and Paul Marshall are a bit of a double act these days. They spend a lot of time in each other's company, they're on the phone to each other most days, but they've had probably 40 years collective together in non-league football as managers, and they have been the best of enemies at times in opposite dugouts. They have been joint managers. They were at Goole together when I was their skipper, and I've known them both for an awful long time. Marshy particularly has had incredible success. He's probably one of the most successful Step 5 managers ever, I would take a guess at. They've both put together some incredible football teams over the years. I make no apology for the fact that this episode will be part discussion on football and concepts and kind of management in football, and part pub talk, to be quite frank, and some kind of misty-eyed kind of reminiscing on the good old days. These guys are, for me, what make football. These are the types of people that made me love my time in football and have made me really enjoy certainly playing as a player. And they're both great human beings. I'm just such a big fan of the pair of them, and I'm pretty sure a lot of people who tune into this are going to feel the same about them. So slightly different episode, this one. Like I say, touching on some really high level stuff and some really good quality kind of management insight, but also some discussions around the good old days, and I'll make no apologies for it, so I hope you all enjoy it. So welcome to the show, everyone. I'm delighted to have Jimmy Reid and Paul Marshall on the show. Welcome to the show, gents.
Good evening, Kevin.
Good to see you both. Nice to see you with a beer in your hand, Marshy. You look comfortable.
As usual. Always.
Good work, pal. Me and Jimmy are going to be thirsty.
Well, you should always be prepared, Kevin. You should always be prepared.
Boy Scout.
I've got some salad on the side here. I'm nibbling at.
Good man, Jim.
Right, gents, we're going to get straight into it. I'm going to ask you a couple of questions. So, Jimmy, I'm going to come to you first. Who's your favourite player ever and why?
Best.
Who?
Georgie Best.
Georgie Best. Why?
Georgie. What a good player. What a good fella. Good header. Left foot, right foot. Could take a tackle. Got stuck in, and a wee bit of nastiness about him.
Yeah. Obviously, I never saw him live, but yeah.
Yeah. I did see him live. When I was about 12. I seen him playing Man United v Everton.
Yeah.
At Old Trafford for a treat.
That must have been.
I just think boys like that and Greavesy and people like that era, if they'd played today in these pitches with the balls and the fitness,
yeah,
they'd be worth. What would they be worth?
Yeah.
Million,
Yeah.
200 million, without a doubt.
Great shout. Okay, favourite team ever, Jimmy? I'll come to you in a minute, Marshy.
All right, Matt.
Glasgow Rangers.
What vintage?
Well, I was growing up. I watched them. Obviously, growing up with them, and I watched them for years. I went myself and watched for maybe 4 years before I started playing football in the afternoon. Yeah, big sort of thing with that. Enjoyed it. Going into the different stadium now, obviously, with a new good stadium, but it used to be a bit of a shithole like they all did.
Yeah. And what sort of were Rangers the best team in Scotland at the time?
Yeah. Well, it was nipping. It was before Celtic got in with the 9 in the rows and that, and it was a wee bit nip and tuck, but there was never anybody winning the league 4 years in a trot.
Yeah. Okay. And decent teams, like really good, like compared to like modern day teams, or compared to the Souness years.
Yeah, when you look at all the players that Scotland sent down to England during the years, there was a lot of good players staying at home as well.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of good internationals stayed at home and played. There weren't as many. There was quite a lot coming down to England, but there was a lot of decent players playing at Rangers a lot. You know.
Yeah. Nice one.
Willie Johnson, you know, Celtic Jimmy Johnson.
Yeah.
Maybe just on par with Geordie Best, but maybe just a wee bit lesser. But what a player he was.
Yeah.
Jimmy Johnson. Yeah, did some great players. You know, Colin Steen, Derek Johnson, John Gregg, Andy Penn. Oh, brilliant.
Yeah. Nice one. Okay, last question for you, Jimmy. This is a make-believe scenario. You've got the two best teams in the world, full of all the best players in the world, playing against each other, right? And you've got to pick a manager to win in a cup final. So to manage one of them teams and win in a 90-minute game, which manager, past or present, would you pick to get a result just in that 90 minutes? Not to build a team, not to coach them for years, not to build a club, just to win that game.
Obviously, a bit national list, either Fergie, or Jock Stein.
Jock Stein. I don't really know that much about Jock Stein, to be fair. Obviously, everyone knows Sir Alex Ferguson, but was Jock Stein similar to Fergie?
Well, Jock Stein was the Celtic manager that won the European Cup.
Yeah, I mean, I know he is, but I don't know enough about how he worked and what type of fella he was.
Yeah, a bit like different class, a wee bit ahead of his time and that, you know.
Yeah.
But that Celtic team they had, they were brilliant. I hate to say it, but they were brilliant.
Right. Yeah.
That team that won the European Cup, everybody that played was within a 12-mile radius. The city centre of Glasgow.
That's unreal, isn't it?
Apart from one, which was Bobby Lennox, who lived in the Ayrshire coast.
Yeah.
And that's never going to happen again.
Well, I mean, the only thing that's anywhere near that is the class of '92 at Man United, isn't it?
Yeah, but you've got to remember, they came from all over Britain to play at Man United.
Yeah, true. Yeah. Beckham was from South.
Glasgow city centre, 12 miles.
Yeah.
And all the way, unbelievable.
Unreal. That is when you think about it. Yeah, it's a great example. Yeah.
Never happened again.
No, for sure. I'm sure. I agree. Right, Marcy, same question. So, favourite player ever and why?
My all-time favourite player was Kenny Dalglish. But
Yeah.
my modern time all-time best player is obviously Steven Gerrard. So the two Liverpool players, but I think both players have been absolutely icons of the game. Not just on the football side of it, but on the people side of it as well. Especially Dalglish, he's done so much for the community of Liverpool. So he just had everything. Did Dalglish? He could control, he could tackle, he could find a pass. He was just brilliant. And Gerrard could play in any position. You could play him left back, right back, centre back. He would be the best player on the field.
Yeah.
He could edit, tackle, score unbelievable goals. I've never seen Steven Gerrard score so many good goals to win games of football.
Yeah,
if you ever wanted to lead a team on, he was your man, without a doubt.
Yeah, for sure. And if you had to pick between the two?
I think probably Steven Gerrard now, because obviously I've watched him more and more. In the early days in the 70s when Dalglish was at his pomp, you probably didn't see as much of him on TV as you do Steven Gerrard. But Steven Gerrard, everybody's seen what he can do. We only see small.
Bits of
Dalglish do. Yeah. So, but I think modern day player is Steven Gerrard for definite. I'd love to have him in a team that I managed.
Okay, and so your favourite team ever then, and why?
My favourite team is Liverpool. I started following them when I was probably about 9 or 10, when Leeds got beat by Chelsea in the FA Cup final, when David Webb scored the goal in the replay. I sat there and cried my eyes out and said, I'm not supporting them again. So I still Leeds is still a team that I want to see get promoted back into the to the Premier League. But I chose Liverpool in 1971-72, and
and which team would you say is your favourite 11 or whatever? Of all the famous teams.
Oh my gosh, the Souness era really. When Souness was captain, Lawrence and Hansen, Grobler in goal. There were some absolute top players in that team, and that's why they won the Champions League or European Cup as we remember it. 4 or 5 times. So
Yeah, proper team. Agreed. Yeah. Okay. So, and then the one about the manager. So, one-off game, best players in the world on both teams. You need to win a game in 90 minutes. You've got to set them up to win in that one game.
Well, I'm going to say Jose Mourinho.
Yeah.
I just think he knows how to win a game of football and to stop a team from winning a game of football.
Yeah.
And I used to love him when he first came to England. I don't particularly like him now. I don't particularly like his style of football anymore. But for a one-off cup final, I would pick him. And obviously nowadays, you'd probably go for Pep Guardiola because he don't lose many finals.
Yeah. Good shout. Yeah, I mean, I think Mourinho is one that a lot of people say because of that one-off, that capability to go and get a result like he did with Inter Milan at Barcelona or Chelsea at Liverpool, for example. Those kind of big games, he just seems to have the kind of Indian sign over anyone really, because he just sets them up tactically in a way that, you know, plays to his strengths and gets at the opposition. And yeah, you got to give him credit for that.
Yeah.
Okay, right. So that's the warm up. Now I want to get into. I mean, look, there's so much we could talk about. And I mean, if we were sat in the Ainsley with a pint and a nine, we'd be there for a few pints, no doubt. But what I wanted to start off by asking you both was, you've both had long careers in the game, in management, seen so many teams and so many players. But you know, what are your favourite memories and what are the best teams that you've looked after? Jimmy, I'll come to you first, pal.
I had a decent team at New Airswick that we sort of built together, just the Yorkshire district.
Yeah.
That I enjoyed as a manager and the coach. Enjoyed helping the kids out at under 16s.
Yeah. On that New Airswick team, Jimmy, and just for people who are listening to this, that's a Yorkshire district team who played against a lot of top semi-professional teams across the north of England.
Yeah.
And I remember them being successful, and then obviously played with some of the lads who came out of that team. So hell of a team. And I remember reading a lot about it first, and then coming across the place.
Well, I went to Pickering after that, but they went on the 17s, and I took them for another year.
Yeah.
And then I took a lot of them in Pickering, which were only 17-year-olds, and there was Washy, Thomas, Mitchell, O'Reilly, Farthing.
Yeah.
And for these young boys to come out and play on a Saturday and get £30 in the back pocket for turning up and washing dishes at some pub for £10 a night, like it was a big thing, and I took a lot of satisfaction out of that. In fact, I'm on commission, and I've now got some bills for some of them. Just worked out Danny Farley owes me 4,820 quid.
Well, out of that team, they went on to play some places, didn't they? I mean, you know, Father went on, and Tossie went on, and quite a few that went on to, you know, very close to professional football, didn't they? When
we went to the under-19s, we played Donny Rovers. They were in it, and the little lad that was running it was Mickey, I can't remember his second name. And they turned up at New Airswick and they beat us 4-1 and ran us off the park.
Yeah.
But we went to Donny Rovers Park, which was, what was the old Donny Rovers stadium?
Bellevue,
and played them there in the night time.
Yeah.
And 6 of the players that played had played in the afternoon for the college with Colin Morris.
Yeah.
And we beat them 1-0. Liam Gray scored and Adam Mitchell saved the penalty. And this Mickey Green, I think it was, came up after and shook my hand and says, "Your boys did brilliant today. I thought they were really awesome." It's very nice of you to say that, but there was 6 of them playing for college this afternoon. After I told them that.
Oh, they wouldn't let them play 2 games in a day now, Jimmy.
And the funny thing about that game was, we'd never had any tops with us. And there was a colour clash.
Yeah.
And they gave us these new Asda tops, green with white. They were brand spanking new.
Yeah.
And we played and thanked them and left them. And I was off the following Monday. And I don't know why I thought of this, but I got a phone call, 01302, a Donny number.
Yeah.
I picked the phone up and it was the Donny manager. And I said, "Hello, Mickey, how you doing?" "Oh, no bad, Jimmy." He says, I'm just wondering, he says, you've not put one of their number 9 kits for that Asda, the brand new kit. I said, it's funny you should say that. I said, the girl just phoned me and told me that there's a different kit in. Is it mine's? I said, look, I'll check it out and get it back to you. Anyway, gets team sheet out, number 9, Phil O'Reilly. Phones Phil O'Reilly up. Where's that Asda shirt? What do you mean, he says? I said, you got it in your bag and brought it home, didn't you? Well, I said, I know you did. I said, get it washed and down here as quick as you can. Anyway, I put it back. He says, oh, we found it. We'll send it down to you tomorrow.
Big Phil might have stretched it out a bit, to be fair.
He could have played pro.
Yeah, he's a hell of a player. Hell of a player he was. Yeah. Okay, so Pickering, or that team that went through. I say, Jimmy, that team that went through from New Earswick to Pickering, that was probably one of the best groups and one of the best sort of times you had in the game as a manager.
Yeah, it was good because you've took them from sort of kids football to the next level, and they all did well. You know, Danny went on and played at Whitby for years. Yeah. Torched a couple of years at Whitby. Yeah. Adam Wash did well at Pickering and ended up at Goole with us. Good striker. Mitchell was a good goalie. A lot of good players come through at one time. You don't really see a lot of that now, you know, with junior kids coming up, you know, into teams like that. You know? And that was good. When we've gone back to Pickering the second time, we've did well. We beat Taddy twice that year. Yeah. just you might anyone might realise who the Tadcaster manager was at the time. I remember going to one of them actually, and he did a bit of a Mourinho job on you, Marshy.
He did, yeah.
Sat in and then hit you on the counter.
Absolutely.
Yeah. No,
same thing when I was Pickering manager to Taddy. Did exactly the same thing and won 1-0.
There you go.
Every time we get him, I used to shout, "Taxi!"
Now the history between you two is, I mean, so many games you played against each other, and then obviously, you know, coaching together as well. And yeah, there's a lot. We could be here all night on it. So, and Jimmy, after you went from Pickering, Selby and Goole and what have you, anything else stick out?
I didn't enjoy the Goole thing because I'm a bit of a. I didn't find it was a good club, but in a bit of disarray, weren't we? We were trying to get into the thing, and there was a lot. It wasn't a sort of. Whereas a lot of the other clubs I've been to, it was a steady graduation. Yeah. Whereas this one, it was all fraught for the start to win and try to get into the Unibond, wasn't it?
Yeah, you're under a bit of pressure straight away.
Yeah, we did well in the end. We got in after 1 or 2 signings and la-di-da-di-da. Yeah. And we got, they told us we got promoted. We beat Glass out in 1-0, didn't we?
Yeah.
And they told us you're not, and then they took it away from us.
Well, I tell you, the last time I probably had a beer with you two in the same room, all three of us, we were probably in Leeds that night celebrating. Well, what we thought was celebrating.
Well, we thought we were celebrating.
Yeah.
Who scored the goal in that night?
Don't know. Cameron Stewart, maybe?
No, young Rollinson.
Steve Rollo, yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Good player, liked him.
He had a lot of potential, did Rollo, yeah.
Yeah. He'd run all day, and he'd run through brick walls for you as well. I remember trying to kick him playing against him, and it was just like kicking. He was just always going to bounce back. He never said anything, but he was tough as
never
tough.
Bothered, did he? No, just took a tackle every time.
Yeah. Okay, Marshy, on to you then. So, I mean, obviously, the first time I came across you was a skinny 18-year-old from Guernsey at Harrogate Town, and then, I mean, you've had a few, haven't you?
I probably gave you one of your first starts in English football, really, when you came over. You were at St John's University, and you came and played. I'd just taken over Harrogate Town Reserve, so it must have been, was it 96 or something like that? You did,
yeah, 96, yeah, you did. So, that's where I started in England.
Yeah, and I remember you coming over and asking for a trial and playing, and you played in our reserve team, and we ended up winning I don't know if you played in the final. We beat Beckwithshire in a cup final, Whitworth Cup final, the first year I was there. And obviously then I got pushed into the first team job at still naive and a young age, really, but it was an experience trying to keep a team like Harrogate Town in the Unibond League on 300 quid a week. It was a tough gig, really, but we managed to finish. We managed to finish fourth bottom and kept them up.
Yeah, I think
where we'll be now.
Quid a week at Harrogate Town now.
Sorry.
So I think the kit man at Harrogate Town's on more than 300 quid a week now.
Yeah, you're probably right, Kev. But like I said, the remit was don't finish in the bottom three and keep us up. And for your first job in management, or your first senior job in management, it was a tough ask. I had our Sean with us to help us, but he was obviously on shifts at Roundtree, so he couldn't make it all the time. But we managed to do it, and we finished fourth bottom. Won the last game at Congleton, where me and Steve Hartley had to go on as subs, 2-0 down. Lee Harper hadn't scored all season, popped up, scored 2 goals, and we won 4-2 and finished fourth bottom. So it was happy days, for
unbelievable.
Unbelievable, really. And you think if we'd have gone down, which everybody expected us to go down that year, where Harrogate Town would be now. The money might not have come to the club.
Yeah, that's it. Feels that way to me. It feels that way to me. I don't think many people will go back to that point in time. But if they'd gone down then, I'm not sure it would have continued, would it? So they'd have
gone into the counties, and they could be exactly like Railway are now.
Yeah, exactly. So you talk about Railway. I mean, cup run there. It's got to be one of the highlights there.
Yeah, obviously, the 2 cup runs really, Kev. The year before, we got to the 4th qualifying round and got beat in the 94th minute against Morecambe.
Yeah.
And you think, I was devastated because I thought we were going to get a draw and go to Morecambe. They got a corner and their manager was playing hell with them because he was trying to keep it in the corner. And as it was, they threw the ball in and they scored the winning goal, which obviously devastated me as a person and the club because we could have had a nice replay at Morecambe. At the time, but I said to the Sky, it was Sky Sports. I said to them, "Oh, we'll be back next year. We'll go one further and
tongue in cheek."
Tongue in cheek, Kev, obviously, and then we got drawn against Whitley Bay, who just won the Vars in the prelim round the following season. Everybody says, "Well, you won't be good. You won't be doing it this year." So, but the rest is history, as they say.
Yeah, it's unbelievable.
Yeah.
To get to the 3rd round, I mean, for a step 5 club.
Second round, Kev.
Second round, yeah.
I wish it was second round. It would have been Leicester away.
Yeah. So obviously in Harrogate Railway stuff, big stuff. You've had a number of promotions. I actually said before, about the fact that there can't be that many step 5 managers who've had the number of promotions you've had.
I don't know. I've been lucky. I've had some great players play for me. I've never had a lot of money or big budgets like a lot of managers seem to have, and I've managed to.
You look like you got money now. You're drinking some real posh beer there, aren't you?
Only Coors Light, mate.
Coors Light. Okay, all right. It's an upgrade on the normal Fosters.
I'm on the milk.
Yeah. Mate, you can get 24 bottles for a tenner in Asda, mate. Get in
there, Marsh. Yeah, Jimmy, you stick on that tea. Nothing stronger in there.
So
can't afford it.
Listen, there's a kit man's job at Harrogate Town going.
I'm going to go in for that.
I would. So obviously the teams you've had, Marsh, not massive budgets, but just getting the players together, right?
Just get good lads together who just want to play for you. I've had so many lads who have played for next to nothing who should have been playing higher, but they just enjoy the environment that you create. And if you create a good environment for players, they'll run through brick walls for you. And Jimmy's done it, and I've done it, and we've got success out of it.
Yeah. I have to say, Jimmy is probably the most resourceful manager I ever came across. Like, I've never known anyone create money for football clubs at the same time as managing and delivering the team talks, because he'd be walking down the street and he'd get someone in. It could be a meat draw, it could be a sponsors board, it could be just a few quid to get another player in, but he'd just bring money in out of nowhere, literally out of nowhere, just with his patter. I've never seen anything like it. I don't think managers these days would be doing the same thing, to be honest.
Absolutely, but my first manager at Harrogate Town, Alan Smith, used to do exactly the same thing. He'd be selling meat raffle tickets and all sorts, trying to sell anything before a game, before doing his team talk. He was amazing for Harrogate Town, was Alan Smith. He generated so much money, And obviously, I ended up taking him down to Railway when I went down there to raise money for Harrogate Railway, which he did for us. So.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've been very lucky, Kev. There's only Bridlington Town where I probably didn't have a very good time of it. I only lasted about 13 games. Didn't win a league game. Had 4 draws and 9 losses. So Pete Smurthwaite sacked me, which was fair enough. I deserved to be sacked. But it was just a tough gig, really, trying to get players to Bridlington on 50 quid. Everybody was on 50 quid at the time. And it's a bit of a trek when you're only sort of know York and Harrogate and Leeds boys to get them across to Brid to play for 50 quid. So
yeah, it's a long way. It's a long way to go over there, for sure. But you know, good man is Pete Smurthwaite, like one of the best chairmen about, isn't he?
Great man. He's struggling at the moment because obviously this is financially crippling.
I was saying to Marcia before with this conversation, I just think sometimes, like when me and Brownie were at Pickering there last time, and I think my budget was 480, and they put it up to 620. It was the worst thing that happened to us.
Yeah.
It made quite a lot of people greedy, and the £30, the £40 wanted 60 quid, the £50 wanted 70 quid.
Yeah.
And you stood there with Jesus with the loaves and the fishes and not enough money at the end.
Absolutely.
And I said to Brownie, I said, we would be better staying on what we had because you knew what you had, and like you say, Marcy, they knew what they were getting.
Yeah.
But it just became a wee bit greedy, and it wasn't very nice the first start of the season with that, you know.
What would you have done, Jimmy, if someone had come along and said, right, here's £2,000 a week, going, you know, what sort of players and how would you have gone about it? Because you obviously worked, you both worked with players that, like me, for example, who probably weren't the superstars, and you built good team spirits and stuff. What would you have done if you'd have shed loads of money?
Well, I think you can be spoilt with a lot of it, can't you? Because you bring a player in for £250 a week, and the fella's still getting 70, 80, he's walking off at the end of the game and saying, oh yeah, I've only got 80 quid, he's got 250 and he's shy.
Yeah.
And it can cause a lot of problems. I think your leagues are your leagues, and your money's what your money is what it is.
Yeah.
And it's competitive for that league without going too daft.
Yeah.
So
what you did, you know, players would go and play for you two for 50 quid a week that would have been offered 100 down the road. So in terms of management and what you did, not just dressing room or what have you, but also what you did, you know, your relationship with the players. I mean, certainly for me, you know, at the time when I'm working with you two, I'm thinking, well, I could go somewhere where the fella's horrible and he's going to give me another 50 quid. Am I going to enjoy it? Am I going to be with you lot, you know, and a group of lads who I knew really well? There wasn't even a discussion about it.
Yeah. And that was, you weren't the only one, Kev. There was hundreds like you who've been through our hands. And they wanted to play for us because we create a nice environment to play football and have a good laugh with them. That type of managers.
Yeah, it was good. It was good for sure. Okay, one thing I want to ask you both. You both got sons who've played a decent level or playing a decent level. Jimmy, what was it like for you having Toshi and Aaron? I mean, Aaron was obviously a YT at York. Toshi probably, in my opinion, he was, well, I said to you, I was speaking to Gary Chapman over here. He's a scout for Man United now, and he remembers Toshi as a player who he thought was that level of, you know, on the periphery of professional football, really, and probably should have gone pro or could have gone pro.
Well, Aaron's picked me up for work today and brought me home, and he's told me to say that he's the best keeper I've ever dealt with.
Aaron was brilliant for me, though, as well, to be fair.
Was he?
Aaron, we had a relationship together as well, and he was one of my best goalkeepers ever.
Yeah.
Aaron underachieved. For the talent that he had, he could have achieved more. And I thought Aaron could have played conference football no problem and got a good deal of money at it.
Yeah.
Thomas, I always looked at Thomas and thought he could do better because I thought he had a lot more ability and he didn't use it. And I thought he could have pushed himself more.
Yeah. I'd agree.
And he did all right, don't get me wrong, he was a quality player. He could stick a free kick in and cross the ball, and he's a lovely lad, as you know. He's just like his mum. You know what I mean?
It was too nice, I thought.
It's too nice. Yeah. That was Tosh's problem. Too nice.
Yeah.
You know, he had a quality right foot, but you know, he should have been just a bit more nasty, and he'd have made it in football without a doubt.
Yeah.
I was quality on the ball.
Yeah, I once dropped him on a Tuesday night at Pickering. I said, I'm leaving you out today. You're on the bench. He was only 17 and maybe 18. He said, what's that for? I said, well, I thought you looked sluggish Saturday. Well, he said, I don't agree with you. He says, I just don't agree with you. I said, well, look, what are you going to do about it? He said, I'm going to tell my mum to go home. I said, you're still on the bench.
But was it easy enough to manage him, Jimmy?
Yeah, he was neat. He was no bother. Aaron, I didn't feel under pressure with Aaron, but he was a wee bit more hyper, I think, Aaron. You know, and a wee bit more.
A wee bit.
Yeah, but he had a few problems in his life which didn't help him.
Yeah.
And that sort of escaped onto the football field, and the way he was in the football field. You know, I bet he got sent off twice a year, didn't he, at least? Because he couldn't, he just had this little button and he was running it to kick a fella and you could see what was going to happen.
Yeah, yeah.
And you would say, no. Oh, he's sent off again.
I said it, I can't remember who it was against, but it was for your Taddy side. I remember going down to watch and he had a brilliant game. Really assured. I mean, fantastic when the game changed a little bit and goalkeepers had to use their feet a little bit more. He was really composed. You could spray the ball left, right, not these lovely diags around. Real great talker, and he had a brilliant game. And then, exactly as you just said, I could see it from the other end of the pitch. I could see something switch, and he was going to go and do something stupid. And sure enough, he went and cleaned someone out. Off he goes, and down gone the gloves, and you just knew it was going to happen. But
I can remember when he did it, Kev, but I can't remember who we were playing. But I was thinking, and exactly, you could see it coming, and he just went straight through somebody.
Yeah, yeah. But so assured. I mean, like a real top level performance before that. It was just like night and day, really. But
he could play centre half as well. So he used to passing the ball and heading the ball. He was a good header of the ball. So. Yeah. Nothing ever phased Aaron.
Yeah, he's fat. He's a daft lad. He's a daft lad. No sense, no feeling. He's a goalkeeper.
And he liked to tackle.
Yeah,
he liked to tackle. A bit like you, Kev. I love that.
Mate, there's nothing wrong with that. If you're not very good with the ball, then you've got to do something else to catch the eye.
Never tackle with his head though.
Look out, people. So, and Marcy, what about Charlie? Charlie's a bit younger, but I've seen he's progressing gradually through and seems to be
slowly. Yeah, I've always said he's like 2 years behind his age group, really, and I think now I've been mightily impressed with what he's done over the last few weeks for Garforth. It's just a shame, this has happened and the season's been cut short because. The last game we played at Grimsby, the second half, he scored a goal and created two. And, I'm thinking he's a decent player. He's 6'3", 6'4" now, but he's got so much ability. I don't know where the hell he got that from because, I just used to head it and kick it as well. A bit like you, Kev, but just my left foot, really. But he's got so much ability and hopefully he can progress on that. And I think he'll play a little bit higher.
I went and watched him play for Tosh's team 3 years ago, and I only watched 20 minutes because I can't remember. I had to come away, and I came home and I said to Toshi, he can play that kid. He said, that's Marcy's lad. So she's joking. And I told you, didn't I? I told you the other year if he got himself fit.
Yeah.
And that's
I think I've told everybody for years he's just always been small. He was smaller than everybody, Kev, until 16, and then between 17 and 19, he grew from 5'5" to 6'2".
Yeah,
it's immense. He's a big
lad now. He's just going to grow. I mean, look, from what I've seen, I mean, I haven't seen him in the flesh for 3 years now, but what I've seen footage of him and some of the footage of the games. He looks like he's got the scope, like you say, just to keep going, and you never know how far he could go.
I hope so. I've seen a lot of players, and it's not just because he's my son that I think. I've always said you've got the technical ability, which is you're never going to lose that technical ability. Once you've got it, you don't lose it.
Yeah.
You just get slower as you get older. You know, Jim will tell you that. He had the technical ability, and you could just carry on using your technical ability until you can't run anymore. And he got that. And I says, once you grow into your body, you'll be as good a player. You'll play higher than counties football. I know he will.
Yeah, I think so. Okay, right. Let's move on to a bit of York football and talk about the king of York football, Jim Collis. So to start off with, on a slightly somber note, Jim is not well now. We've talked about him on this a couple of weeks ago with Mikey Morton, and you know, our best wishes. I'm sure I speak on behalf of all three of us, go to Jim's family and Jim himself, because he's struggling health wise now with dementia. But I'm sure whenever people think about Jim Collis, they think of probably two things: one of the success he had, and two of the daft things he used to say. So we'll probably cover both. But to start off with, I mean, Jimmy, we'll come on to you, because I know you spent a lot of time with Jim as his skipper and what have you. But Marcy, what are your memories of Jim? Because from my point of view, both of you two have been slagged off the high hell by Jim for nicking his players when I was around. And if one week it wasn't Jimmy Reid, then the next week it'd be Paul Marshall, I tell you. As much as I'm sure he liked you both, but those are my first memories of the pair of you in context to Jim.
Well, that's just football, isn't it, at different levels.
Yeah.
You know, as a manager, managers come and pinch our players when they're doing well. I go and look at York and District players, same as Jimmy did, and you know, I got Matt Watkinson and Stevie Adams from Rowntrees at the time. Where Jimmy was fuming that I was taking out. Kev Smith as well. So I have pinched a few players from Rowntrees, but that's what you do in football when you want to progress a player. I've never stopped a player from moving on, and I don't think any manager should. If you want to see a player progress. I say it in jest, Marshy, because it was always just, like you say, just a footballing comment. It was never, you know what Jim was like. No. You know, Jim Collis was the best York and District manager ever. You know, how many trophies did he win when Jimmy was playing, and punch bowl and what have you? You know, my early days playing for civil service on a Saturday and a Sunday morning, especially against punch bowl, there was some good players and good teams in those early days. What the Jim? You know, we started great players from Cross Keys and what have you, and Hounds and Selby.
Bayhorse. Big Foggy's team, you know, there was Cross Keys used to love playing again. But that Sunday league was a very competitive league, and I thought at a certain time in our lives it was a better league than the Saturday league, because we were winning the Saturday league by Christmas for 3 or 4 years in a trot, and it wasn't a competitive league, but the Sunday morning one was.
Yeah, but there were a lot of counties players playing Sunday morning football, weren't there?
Yeah,
but Bob Mason and Clive Mullall and people like
Bob
that.
Mason, all these boys, Tony Watland.
So, there were some great players.
Who's the boy? Who's the boy? It's the racing trainer now, Clive Mullall.
Clive Mullall, that's Yeah, there were some good teams, and obviously Jim Collis won a lot of trophies with his team with punch bowl and what have you. But there were always competitive games nearly every week, every Sunday morning. I'd come through from Harrogate to play on a Sunday morning, just because it was a good competitive league.
Yeah. I mean, I was amazed. I mean, coming from Guernsey as Sunday football that is real Sunday football. I mean, they're not really footballers, if you know what I mean, or they did at that time. And the first time Coxie took me to punch bowl, I played and I couldn't believe the standard, the intensity, the amount of people that were on the sideline. I mean, it was proper football. And I thought, to be honest, there was a time, I agree with you, Jimmy. I mean, you know, some of those punch bowl teams would have beaten decent North East Counties sides at the time, I thought, because there was probably 6 or 7 lads picking up good money on a Saturday, and the way that team played under Jim, a bit back to what we were saying before about getting a good team spirit, and just when that happens, you can tell they play well together. I was amazed at the standard of football, and I think a lot of people think Sunday football's not up to much because they see Sunday football now with 6 teams in a league and, you know, games being called off. But, you know, 25, 30 years ago, those leagues were incredibly competitive. And to be honest, I mean, Stefan Zoll, for example, I'm sure he said to me he used to pick up more money on a Sunday in Bradford than he did when he was picking up 1,700 quid on a Saturday.
Who was that?
Stephen's off.
Yeah.
Some teams in that Bradford league were getting well paid, on a Sunday.
Really well.
Loads of Harrogate lads used to go to play in Bradford league.
Yeah.
Because getting well paid.
Yeah.
Was Manning and Mills one of the decent teams there?
I think that's who he used to play for.
Yeah.
But you look now, Harrogate. When I started managing at Harrogate Catholic Club, that was my first club as a manager, player manager. I ended up, managing them before I went to Harrogate Town, and then all of a sudden, there's no leagues in Harrogate now. No Sunday morning football in Harrogate. There's one team, Atlanta, who play in the York League apparently.
Yeah, it's unbelievable, isn't it? Unbelievable.
There was 6 leagues.
Yeah.
I can't believe it.
It's unbelievable. So on Jim, what who would you say the best player who played for Rowntree's was, Jimmy? Who's the best player over the years? Because I heard a lot of people talk about the likes of Charlie Howarth, and yourself got a good few mentions, and probably Bruffy, Paul Bruff. I never saw him play, but he never shut up about Bruffy.
Neil Grayson, maybe.
Who went to Cheltenham and had a really good career as a pro game.
Yeah, Andy Lennon.
Yeah.
Keeper wise. John Rowe, a good keeper. Jimmy Hodgson, great footballer. Hodgie, the left peg to die for.
Yeah.
Big Steve Faulkner at centre half. He's a quality boy. I think the toughest fella I've ever seen play at Rowntree's was Chris Wadsworth.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
He's the only fella I played with. He had a Cots man that used to come to the games room. The boxes of the Cots fella. He used to be stood there in the ice bucket.
He killed me. Chris Wordsworth killed me because I didn't score from every corner when I went up for a header. I just got compared to him because apparently a corner was almost as good as a goal with Chris Wordsworth because he was so good in the air. He's a centre half who could just go and score you 15, 20 goals a season with his head.
I'll go back to when me and Chris Wordsworth were 15 or 16 playing for York schoolboys against Barnsley schoolboys, and a corner came in and he headed it from 18 yards and it flew in the top corner, and I thought to myself, he's headed it harder than I can kick the ball. Unbelievable. I ain't kidding. He just up and he headed the ball in the top corner, and I went, wow, he can head it harder than I can kick it.
But some of them players who played for Jim would play for York or York's reserves one day and then play for Jim the next one, didn't they?
2 seasons we played for York City Reserves. There was about 7 of us. Every week we were turning up, and we used to pay us a tenner for playing, and we spent 20 quid in the clubhouse after. Great, brilliant. Economic exercise it was. And they used to come up and would say, how much did you get for playing? I said, they didn't pay us this week, love.
Didn't Falky play for the first team though, Jimmy?
Sorry?
Didn't Steve Falcon play for the first team?
At York?
Yeah.
Yeah, he played. He left York and then he came and he went to, like a lot of them did, went to Rowntree's factory and...
Oh, right, yeah.
And then they ended up with the fireman with your brother.
Yeah, they did, yeah.
He was a good let me tell you this, his brother was a good football, Marcy's brother.
Oh, he's brilliant.
A lot better than somebody else in this trio. No, not you. Him.
I know.
All about you.
I know.
Yeah, Sean was a good player, obviously. He played at Wembley 3 times, obviously. Played a lot of games for Scarborough in the 70s. So, yeah, I love those days going to Scarborough week in, week out to watch him. That was my start of my non-league footballing career. Watched him score a goal against Crystal Palace in the FA Cup, against Preston North End in the FA Cup, and then scoring the winning goal at Wembley in extra time against Stafford Rangers. So that was the start of me getting involved in non-league football, watching my brother. So
and then playing for him at Frickley.
And then I played for my fame really is 3 games at conference when the miners' strike was on. Away at Bangor, away at Barrow, and away at Maidstone. There's my 3 games. Stevie Daniels got sent off. I was just about to go on at Barrow, and Bangor in Wales, North Wales, and he's leathered this kid, got sent off, and Sean was about to put me on, and he goes, "You better go look after Danny because all these Welsh fans were going to kill him." So I had to go down the tunnel and march, get him into changing room. Never got on at the. So I went all the way to Bangor, sat there, never got on. But I got on at Maidstone and
Maidstone.
So,
yeah.
so I can say I played conference or the old conference Division 5.
Yeah. And that was a tough league from what I'm told. I mean, you know, any time you've been Frickley over the last 20 or 30 years, it's a tough place to go anyway. But you probably were set up for it. But I think when I read Stuart Pearce's book about when he was at Wealdstone in the old conference, it sounded like a bloody battle.
John was manager there when they played Wealdstone, and Vinnie Jones was playing for somebody else at the time, and used to start on some of the minors, and none of them were worried about Vinnie Jones in those days, and yet he became one of the hardest players around.
Yeah.
John tells that story. They all just.
To be honest, he was just another midfielder who wanted to go around kicking people then, wasn't he?
Absolutely, and there was plenty of them around.
Yeah.
When we had that good team at Roundtrees, that year we were all playing for the Rezzies and that, we went through the season undefeated on the Saturday. We dropped 2 points. But on our last game of the season, we played Scarborough in the North Riding Cup final at Scarborough. Now, I think it used to be called, you maybe tell me different, it used to be called the Goole League then.
It was the Goole League, yeah.
Yeah. And we played them at Scarborough in the final, and they beat us 4-2. And I tell you now, if we were fitter that day, we would have beat them, and that's how good a team we had at the time. The only thing that let us down was with fitness.
Yeah. Well, that shows how good the standard was, for sure.
Quality. Tommy Stanley played.
Yeah.
Tommy was the top player, you know, Martin Rogers, Big Tatterton at Park. Henry Britton played. Great centre half, great sweeper upper, you know. Yeah, it was quality boys.
Decent side. So on Codman then, I'm just gonna say I'm gonna just put one funny one in, and if you've got any funny ones, then throw them in there, and then we'll move on. But he always used to. He'd get into the changing room and he'd say, "Bloody Kev Graham, I've been trying to get hold of him all week." I said, "You haven't been trying to get hold of me?" He says, "Yeah, I left a message on your Wi-Fi." So obviously everyone's in stitches there, and I mean, look, I could go on, but that's the kind of thing that he'd say it deadpan and then carry on to the next thing, and everyone would just be curled up, just absolutely in creases or creased up in there. Unbelievable. He's way too many. I don't know if you two have got any that you remember him saying.
Jimmy will know more than me because he played for him for a long time.
He said one day, "Jimmy, try some of their triangular balls." I said, don't you mean diagonal? He said, "Yeah, try some of them as well."
What did you used to say, Kev? It's team talk. Defenders defend, midfielders create, attackers score.
That was it every week.
Every week.
Well, at the end of the day, he'd say something like, "Oh, all that shit that's gone on, that's all bridge under water," which obviously everyone would be pissed themselves at to start off with. And then he'd go in and he'd say, "Anyway, today, defend, midfielders create, attackers score goals." Out you go. That was it. Brilliant. What a man.
We once came in and we were getting beat 2-1 at Roundtrees, and we came in and I was raging, and we came in. And we were sitting down and they're getting the cups of tea, and I started effing and jeffing. Well, I lost it. I lost it for 10 minutes. And just at that, the bell rang for us to go back out. And Jimmy shouts, "Oi, oi, don't forget what Reid told you." Which is team talk at half time.
That's class. Yeah. What a man, I think.
You see, just to finish on Jim, if MD was ever poorly or in hospital, I always went to see them, and I always maybe took flowers for his wife, and I always give you a couple of quid. I always give you a fiver, and if you were out on the night out and you were skint and you borrowed $5, he wouldn't take it back off you.
Oh, man, I mean, my missus used to say, I saw Jim out in town again tonight, and he used to go out more than us lads who were 30, 40 years younger than him.
Oh, when I started taxiing every Friday and Saturday night, you'd see him walk into town and maybe get a taxi back home. every week, and he always had a signing on form for everybody.
Yeah, he had a signing on form for players, and he was still grafting away as well, grafting away. You know, chuck out time, unbelievable. Anyway,
he did well to last.
He
did well to last all that year with that same colour hair as well, by the way.
I don't know if they had Just for Men back in the 60s, but he was probably using it then if they did.
And to be fair to Paul James at Albion, who's been trying to set up this charity game, and it's been obviously postponed quite a few times. But yeah. PJ, you know, played for me at Taddy. Well, played for Taddy for a long time, and obviously Jim Collis managed him there at Taddy, and he's worked extremely hard to try and get a game of football on to raise money for Jim's family. So hopefully, when we finally manage to get that game on, it'll be well supported. And
top man, yeah. I'm glad you mentioned it. Yeah. Anyone who's listening, please look out for that. When we get back to normality after this coronavirus crisis, there will be a charity game at Taddy to raise funds for Jim's family. So yeah, thanks for mentioning that, Marshy. Okay, so we're going to come on just to you know, we've probably got another 10-15 minutes or so, fellas. I want to talk about how the game's changed, because you two have been in the game longer than me. Let's just leave it at that. All right, you're a bit older than me. What are the big things that you've seen that have, you know, the big things that stand out for you about the way the game's changed in the last 15-20 years?
Well, football doesn't change a great deal. It's just coaches overcomplicate things, Kevin. You've got a lot of new modern day coaches who they all want to play out from the back. And it's great if you've got the players who can play from the back, but why do teams carry on playing from the back when they keep having the ball taken off them and conceding goals? I just don't get it. You know, you've got to understand who your players are, what they're capable of, and play to a system that suits the players, not a system that you think is the way to play football. Unless you've got the best players in the world and you can coach them day in, day out to do it. Yeah.
And bear in mind, you're still managing Step 5 football. You're still seeing this week in, week out, or regularly.
I'm seeing it more and more now from young managers coming through in our level.
Yeah,
it's great that they're all doing the coaching badges and they're all learning from Pep Guardiola and what have you. But unfortunately, when you play football at North East Counties level, you don't play on perfect pitches.
Yeah.
You don't have 4 and 5 days with players each week. You have an hour or 2 hours a week with your players. You can't do a lot in 1 or 2 hours coaching a week. So you've got to set your team up correctly to win a game of football. But I've seen it this season. You've got a 50-mile-an-hour wind blowing into the faces and they're trying to play out, and all I've done is press high up the field, won the ball back and created problems for them. And you think, why'd you keep doing it?
Yeah.
And teams keep doing it, and that's the way they want to play, which is fine, but it's not going to bring them success at our level.
Yeah. Nice. It's a good point. I mean, I think what I find interesting now is maybe 7 or 8 years ago when I was sort of coaching and had my head in books a bit too much probably, and I was too focused on sessions and I was too focused on concepts and tactics and whatever. I think at that time the whole world was starting to, you know, all these young coaches are coming through and talking, you know, about the same type of things that you're talking about there. But I've seen the same coaches now come full circle. So when they've got a bit higher, they've realised, and some of the concepts that you've just mentioned there, it's true. You have to play to the pitch. If you're playing on a pitch that's, you know, let's say in May time and it's bobbly as hell and bone hard and dusty, and you're trying to play the ball around the back and you keep losing it because you can't get the ball under control, you probably need to use a bit of common sense and adapt and maybe go play, but play a little bit closer to their goal rather than your own. And some real top coaches that I've spoken to in recent years have just said, I used to get a bit too focused on doing that, and I've realised that the simplicity of the game, it doesn't change, as you say. It's still 1 ball and 2 goals.
Absolutely.
Yeah. What about you, Jimmy?
It makes me laugh out. I think Liverpool have been so successful with what they do, because they go forward more than anybody else.
Yeah.
They get crosses in more than anybody else. But you watch, not slagging them, but Man City and Arsenal, and You know, I went and took the dog for a 20-minute walk the other day, and they were 5 yards further than they were when I went out. Just, you know what I mean? To me, it's about progression.
Yeah.
You've got people that likes of Sterling, and Sterling for me, with all his skill and ability, isn't a very good player because you never see him go by people.
Yeah.
Sterling playing, I know he scores loads of goals, but I think I would score goals at Man City if I played up with Aguero. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But you see it's just pass, and I don't like watching it.
No.
I like watching it.
I get what you're saying. I think for the you know, Guardiola himself would say the best pass is the one that gets you nearest to the goal. He would still say that.
Yeah.
But it has to be, you've got to keep control of the ball, and you've got to have options with the next pass after that. So, you know, I think there's sometimes they get, like, people will watch it and say, well, he's only passing, he's only bothered about passing sideways, and maybe, you know, they still get the ball forward just in a different way. But I think every coach out there still wants to get the ball forward. It's just the control that they apply, and some of them take it too far. I mean, what you're mentioning there, Marshy, that I remember coaching at Hull Road Rangers a couple of years ago, and Hull Road Rangers old ground, Dean Park. It was East Yorkshire Carnegie or something like that. And the centre half started on the goal line. They started on the goal line, and so they weren't going anywhere with that first pass apart from sideways and further away. That's actually further away from where they want to get to. Now, that's fine if they've got good enough players and a good enough surface, but if you've ever played at Dean Park, you'll know the surface into George Best. Yeah. And they just kept on losing the ball, and exactly what you just said there, pal. It just didn't really make sense, but it looked like it was kind of like straight out of a book. It wasn't out of the real world; it was just out of a book.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And it's great when it comes off, but you know you've got to look at the percentages. How many times is that going to come off when you can play from centre half all the way through at North East Counties level? It doesn't happen very often. Doesn't happen at all. Most goals are scored through set pieces or mistakes.
Mistakes is massive at that level. You're going to get mistakes, so you just But it's funny that what you just said though before. You pressed high. Well, pressing high is a big favourite of a lot of modern coaches. You know, they'll talk about pressing as a concept that's new. It's not new at all, is it? We all know it's new, but it's funny that you're talking about another relatively, a fashionable concept to counteract another concept, if you see what I mean.
Well, one of the best managers I've ever managed against is obviously managing at Brighton now, Graham Potter.
Yeah.
And he's a great advocate for playing out from the back. And when he managed, you've got Chris Wilder and you've got Graham Potter who started managing in the North East Counties.
North East Counties, yeah.
Not a lot of people know that, but obviously Graham Potter was at Leeds Carnegie and Wilder was at Alfreton.
Alfreton.
They won everything at Alfreton that year when he was player manager.
Yeah.
But they've both gone on now to be two successful Premier League managers.
Yeah.
And one of them plays a certain style of football and Wilder plays a different style of football.
Yeah.
But yet I managed against them both and managed to, when I played a 2-4-4 against Graham Potter at Leeds Carnegie because all they wanted to do was pass it out from the back.
Yeah, so you just pressed, you put more people in advanced positions. And
at the time it was 4-4, everybody played 4-4-2 generally. So I just said, we're going to play 2-4-4 because they won't kick it long.
Yeah.
So we just pushed our two wide men on, the two centre forwards, stopped and we eventually won the game 1-0. We never had the ball very often, but we won the game 1-0. And I thought, well, it's no good if you have the ball all the time, you can't do it. And we drew at Taddy 1-1 with them, and ultimately we got promoted. I know they would have done with Leeds Carnegie, but they had a 3-point deduction. But at the end of the day, he was a great coach, and that's where he learnt his trade in the North East Counties, playing football though.
Yeah, but I think that highlights just, you can coach at that level and you can coach at the Premier League. Of course, you learn more about the higher levels you go. I mean, I'll talk about the likes of, obviously Danny Cowley is another one who I talk about quite a lot. And, you ask him, he'd say the same thing. In step 5 football, you've got to find a way to win a football match. And as you go higher, you adapt to different environments and different quality of player and, all the other things. But ultimately, you've got to just find the best way to win a football match.
That's what it's all about, is winning.
Isn't it? Isn't it just?
It's like the Man City thing against Sheffield United, and I like the two managers there you've spoken about, because there's a lot of honesty about them when they talk in the telly after. Honesty comes out, you know, and that's the way Chris Wilder says that there's no use me doing that to try and win a game, because I can't do that with my players.
Yeah.
But he can do whatever he does, what he does best.
Yeah.
Putting people in the box and try to win games and get in areas and get in the box.
Yeah.
And that's the way he'll win games. Could never win it like Pep.
Yeah.
You'd never have 16, 17, although the last goal they did score, they did do it. But a lot of their balls are a bit like Liverpool. They get it forward, get it in the box, and try and get people in the end of it.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's not right, isn't it? It's no, as you say, it's the winning formula you want. And the teams that's got the winning formula, with a good football played like Liverpool, it's great to watch.
Yeah. Okay. So just to finish off on, we just talked about two managers who've coached in North East Counties football. Are there any other managers that have caught your eye over the years that you were just really, really impressed with, Jimmy?
I always liked John Reid.
Other than Marshy.
I've always liked Marshy because I've always had a soft spot for him.
I've
always liked him.
I've had to pick the pieces up every club I've been to after you've been there.
He's the second best Pickering manager that's here tonight.
Listen, I thought we've got to nearly an hour and you two have played really nicely.
Listen, I'm not much funny. Hey, I've still got a statue at Pickering for winning the North Riding Cup. He only got promoted.
I only got promoted, yeah. Same as I did at Savvy.
John Reid because... Huh?
No.
Go on. So Jimmy, other than Marshy,
you know
that. other than Marshy, what other managers over the years that you've come across have you really been impressed with? Can you remember any that stick out?
I liked Reid. I got on all right, very well with Reid.
John Reid, yeah.
I liked Neil Aston. I got on all right with him, and I got on all right with the other old fella, Mick Hennigan.
With the glasses
he was a card. I liked him. I liked the young lad at Brighouse, Paul. Is he now at Taddy?
Taddy now, yeah.
Paul Quinn.
Yeah,
I liked him. But you see, all I used to do before the game was go to the opposite tea room and drink tea, and I used to leave it to Brownie, so I've never seen a lot of managers.
No red wine with them afterwards, hobnobbing like Ferguson.
Not me, no. And Marshy was a good manager, but you never had a lot of success against me, did you? Oh, yeah. Carry on, Kev. Good.
Yeah, listen. What we'll do is we'll say that you're Mourinho, all right, and he's Guardiola who builds things over time. So we'll leave it at that.
I've had to build 5 or 6 teams, haven't I, over the years?
You have. You've grafted, to be fair, pal. You've grafted. So, Marshy, what about you? Managers that you've come up against that you have really impressed with you over the years?
Quinny was one. Obviously, Graham Potter was one when he was at Leeds Carnegie.
Do you remember what Wilder was like at Alfreton?
Yeah, because I actually played in the last game of the season. There was 700 there. We were going on our end of season due to Chester.
Yeah.
And we got told we had to play the final game against Alfreton on the Friday night because the league had finished. Yeah. They were getting promoted. They were getting the championship and everything. We arrived at Alfreton. I said to the lads, "Look, if you want to go to Chester, you go to Chester. I got a team there." And when we got there was 11 of us, including me and Mark Smitheringill, coach.
Yeah.
Danny Ames got lost, so there's 11 of us. They said, "Marsh, I'm going to have to play this." So I've had to play left back. Ryan Francis playing right wing and Wilder's playing right back.
Oh.
I ain't kidding. Ryan Francis then left in the summer to go to...
Yeah, to Hull. Yeah.
So I'm playing my last game at North East Counties in front of 700, having Wilder and Ryan Francis running down right
against the kid who's going to be a Premier League footballer in a couple of years' time.
Absolutely. So... We were losing 1-0 at half time, and Danny Ames turned up, so I decided to walk off at half time.
But what was he like, Wilder? Do you remember?
Alan?
What was he like? Just exactly the same as you see on camera?
No, he was a bit cocksure of himself. He actually told us when he did something, he went, "Shows you medals," which I was very surprised.
Really?
At. Yeah.
Oh, he's got a bit big time.
It went a bit big time, yeah. So yeah, it was a funny one because Kev Smith reminded him of it when Kev scored a goal in second half. He goes, "Shows you medals now, mate."
Ah, quality.
It was a good last game. So I do remember him, and he was a quality right back as well, and obviously him and Ryan France and Alfred and won the league. But yeah, he's gone on to be an amazing manager.
Yeah, I mean, I can't think of a manager I like more in the Premier League. He's class. He's
yeah, absolutely. And if it works for Jurgen Klopp, he's got to be manager of the season.
Yeah, for me. Yeah.
I'll tell you what I did like about when the young goalie Henderson made the boo-boo.
Yeah.
And he didn't give him a bit. He just said, "Look, it's his job to stop the ball going in the bloody net. And that's it." And everybody was saying, and Danny Murphy and that on the Saturday night, he was a bit abrupt in that, and he wasn't like, he just, no, that's the way it is, mate.
But you play for a manager. I'd play for a manager like that. I mean, maybe kids these days wouldn't. I don't know, but I think even kids these days, if you know what you're going to get from a manager, you know how honest and transparent he is, and he isn't going to two-face you, and he's not going to tell you one thing and then slag you off to someone else. If he's going to say that in front of everyone, and then he's going to do his best to back you up, I don't think you can go wrong.
There's another manager who I respect at the moment in time who's really, really unlucky not to have been promoted, obviously, with this league being finished, is Brett Marshall. He's done it the right way at Staveley. They've not paid big money out, and they try and play in a decent way to win a game of football. It's not long ball, it's not short ball, it's a bit of both.
Yeah.
He did it at Retford years ago when they went bankrupt, and he carried on.
I went to watch a game for Jimmy actually at Retford when he was a manager there, and they were a top side then. And yeah, I mean, look, I admire. I think we've talked about it before, pal. I admire Staveley as a football club, and I know he has an awful lot to do with that. He's probably the big influence there. But that place is, smartened up unreal, and hasn't it, over the years? And they've built off the pitch. They've not thrown money at the players, and it's sustainable. I think it's a terrific model for other clubs to look at.
They did early doors, and they realised it was the wrong model to go down. They were trying to throw money at it. Terry Dams is a great chairman as well. They threw a load of money at it, and it didn't work. And then they thought, well, we'll go back to basics. And they brought Brett in and Paul Ward as his assistant. And they've been amazing. They've just built slowly without over budgeting. And I feel sorry for them that they're not going to get promoted because they've done it the right way.
I do, but my guess is they'll carry on. If they're not, it's not like they've thrown a load of money at, like we say, and then players get disinterested. If they've built it the way I think they have, then the players it's just momentum, and they'll just keep going, won't they? Yeah,
and they're looking to get a 4G pitch there, so it's very community based, and they've got a good club running there. So I do feel a bit for them at this moment in time. Obviously, there's a lot of clubs I'm worried about now because they've thrown that much money at it this year to try and get promoted. In both step 6 and step 5, and I just hope they haven't ruined the clubs, because there's a lot of clubs need to have a rethink about what they've done with the money this year and whether they can afford to do it again next year to get promoted. You need to really think about and go back to basics and start afresh and not pay players stupid money at North East Counties level.
Yeah, agreed.
Madder. Some people that can't kick the ball 40 yards, you give them 70 quid.
Jimmy. It's crazy. Some of them are on 200, 300 £300 in North East Counties, and you're like, are you having my life? They're not even good players, and they're getting a lot of money.
Yeah.
They would never have got that type of money if I'd have been the manager. That is for sure. There should be a cap in counties football to £100.
Yeah.
Well, when I was playing the league with Stephen Zoli, was on £30 a week. Travelling through to Leeds with Gary Chapman.
Yeah.
And a tenner a goal.
Yeah. He was a hell of a player, Stefan. Hell of a player. But look, we'll finish on that, fellas. But that sustainability of football clubs is so important, and I agree with you, pal. This is like, it's going to kind of accentuate that problem massively now, isn't it? Without the income for games, without people getting promoted when they thought they were going to get that promotion and therefore the return on investment, I do fear for clubs. And well, ultimately, you know, if you run your club sustainably, you should, just like a business, you know, not all businesses, don't get me wrong, some businesses are just unfortunately going to go to the wall because of this. But you know, if you run a football club and you overspend, you're going to get burnt at some stage, aren't you? So anyway, gents, it's been a pleasure. I wasn't sure if I was going to be able to control you two unruly school kids, and it's actually gone pretty well. I'm pretty sure there's going to be a lot of people out there who are really going to enjoy hearing you two talk about the game, seeing you two on the same call, and I've really enjoyed it. So thank you to both of you. And go on.
Me and Jimmy speak to each other all the time. I give him lifts, he gives me lifts. We're best of pals, aren't we, Jim?
Yeah.
I know.
Kevin, what I always say to Marshy is, when he gives me a lift into town in that taxi, first thing I say is turn the meter off. And then when I get out at the other side, I say to him, I don't want to offend you and offer you any money. Are
you Scottish by any chance?
Sorry?
Are you Scottish by any chance?
Okay. I've been round tonight to see Ruby in Sydney. And I can't go in and see them, so I've gone to the window of the house, like, this is what I've done. Can you read that?
No, I can't. I think it's in Scottish.
I am missing you. Ruby in Sydney. But don't worry, it's pocket money day. It's cost me 25 quid in pocket money. Jamesy,
you must have been spewing.
Every week. I give it every week.
Mate, there's a soft side to that big tough man. There's a soft side to it.
Yes.
It's soft.
Aye. Listen, thanks very much, fellas. Really enjoyed it. I think everyone
enjoyed it.
Fit well. Take care of yourselves.
You look after yourself over there as well, mate.
Thanks, Marcy. Top man. Cheers, pal. Cheers.
Cheers, Marsh. All the best. Take care, boys. Bye.
Turn it off.